Olympiques à Paris en 1924 furent les seconds organisés dans la ville lumière. 44 comités nationaux olympiques et plus de 3000 athlètes prirent part aux 126 épreuves de cet événement historique. La popularité grandissante des Jeux Olympiques fut confirmée par la présence de plus de 1000 journalistes, dont des journalistes radio. Pour la première fois
The opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics, but not the one on July 26, 2024. What we just heard was July 5, 1924.
And here we are 100 years later.
Welcome to This Week Those Books. I'm Rashmi Roshanlal.
And I'm Michael Macy.
The big story is the Paris Olympics, and the big story of the Games, even before they began, was the arson attack on trains in France. But then the mood was already tense in Paris.
One can only hope that the rest of the games go as planned.
Quite. What has gone to plan, however, is This Week Those Books and its special content for the Paris Olympics. We have some exciting, exclusive content. Paris-based best-selling British novelist Stephen Clarke and London author, academic and infrastructure expert Dr. Dominic Davies. They write for us on how the Olympic Games will transform Paris, the host city, or not.
So how will Paris change?
Well, the Games are supposed to be really environmentally friendly. Cardboard beds for the athletes and the chairs in the stadium are apparently made from recycled bottle caps. But the bigger story of these games, really, long after they're over, is the attempt to build the future of Paris as a city.
Well, the games really showcase the huge project to make the French capital more inclusive. For the first time, the city center will be linked to the suburbs, the banlieues, some of the poorest areas of France. There's massive infrastructure investment, for example, in Saint-Denis and Saint-Ouen, marginalized parts of Paris, in the hope that the Olympics leave a legacy of facilities and transport links and hopefully new jobs.
Yeah, quite. This grand urban renewal project is along the lines of others undertaken by other Olympic host cities, not least London. But the 2012 London Games didn't really leave the city with quite the results originally planned.
I also think it's interesting that Paris hasn't built lots of flashy new structures for these games, but restored some sites even from the 1924 games.
Yeah, there's that swimming pool that was built in 1924 and is now being used for the Games 2024. So I guess reuse, restore, recycle.
Well, should we look at this week's books?
Sure, you go first. A little reminder, though, that this week the books have been picked by the authors themselves. They wrote them up too, as well as identifying choice quotes for readers.
Our first book is Stephen Clarke's Merde at the Paris Olympics.
Now, he's a really interesting writer, British, based in Paris, with a breezy but insightful style that reminds me of Bill Bryson. We featured him before on This Week Those Books. The difference this time round is that Stephen Clarke himself has written about this novel, which, as the name suggests, is about the Paris Olympics. Now, you've read quite a lot of Stephen Clarke, Michael. What do you say about his writing?
Well, I think he really understands how people deal with cultural differences, and he is hilarious.
Our second book is The Broken Promise of Infrastructure by Dr. Dominic Davies.
Well, that sounds a lot more serious.
But Dominic offers an expert view of how infrastructure can often be built for shock and awe rather than anything useful.
Well, now that's interesting.
I rate it an insightful read.
Context is all, making you smarter, faster.
Yep, enjoy the games and do take a look at the infrastructure.
See you next week for another This Week Those Books.
Bye.